The wind rose from the slopes of Alborz. The air was cold. The mist had swallowed the horizon. Arash, a man with tired shoulders but watchful eyes, was climbing the rocks. He had volunteered to mark Iran's border with an arrow that would fly with his soul. Halfway through the path, a woman appeared. Tall, a dusty cloak, one hand resting on the hilt of a dagger, eyes that were calm and firm. The path is dangerous. Who are you? I'm Arash. I've come to find the border. Not on paper, from the depths of my soul, she replied. I am Mahpari, from a lineage of women who defend borders with poetry and blades. In that moment, something between their eyes fell silent. But in that silence, a deeper light was born. By day, they walked unfamiliar trails. By night, they sat beside the fire. Arash spoke of his childhood, how everyone always wanted a hero from him, but no one ever asked what his heart desired. Mahpari spoke of her mother, a woman who stopped wars with poetry and disarmed swords with words. Sometimes their silence was louder than dialogue. On nights when only fire and wind made sound, their hands would at times drift quietly close. Something began to form between them. Not just love, but a deep companionship, a shared pain, and a hidden hope. One day, the sky was clear. The sun had warmed the grasslands. Mahpari smiled. Today, no borders, no arrows, just hunting. Arash laughed. I can't promise we'll catch anything, but I promise not to steal your smile. They walked into the valley. Mahpari moved gently. Her shadow didn't even disturb a pebble. Arash, every step echoed through the mountain. Mahpari said, You're a hero of borders, but a killer of silence. They burst into laughter. They caught nothing, but they sat by a spring and shared bread and cheese. Arash said, I wish everything was this simple. Like this spring, clear, borderless, honest. Mahpari smiled and said, You're just like this spring, Arash. And that is rare. It was just a simple, happy day. But for the mountain, it became eternal. Days passed. Arash still hadn't found a peak to launch the arrow from. Until Mahpari said, There is a peak. Nameless, even eagles struggle to reach it. Only the wind knows the way. At night, in silence, they climbed the jagged rocks. By dawn, they reached the highest point of Alborz. The clouds were beneath their feet. Mahpari said, Here, if your arrow can pass through this wind, it will reach the farthest land of Iran. Arash simply looked and calmly replied, You showed me the peak. I'll show the people the border. He prepared the arrow. It was made of cypress wood, the tip soaked in his own blood. Mahpari, startled, asked, Why your blood? Arash replied, Because this arrow must pass through me, so the border can grow from my roots. Mahpari stepped closer. She placed her hand on Arash's arm. For the first time, a tremble appeared in his eyes. The man who had always stood firm broke in Mahpari's gaze. Don't go. Stay with me, Arash said. I will go, not for glory, not for legend. I go because a nation deserves to live without fear. Forget me. But if one day a child smiles, know that I had a share in that smile. Morning. The mountain was silent. At its base stood the soldiers, the priests, and the border guards. Arash stood on the same peak of wind facing the horizon, and with a voice only Mahpari could hear, he said, If they ask why he left, say, because he couldn't bear to see love fall silent. He didn't go to save himself, but to save love and the people who placed their hope in him. The arrow was released. It flashed, it roared, it soared, it flew past Alborz and landed somewhere far away. Arash was never seen again. Every dawn, Mahpari climbs that same peak. The wind carries her hair, and her eyes still wait. She never cried. She never screamed. She simply recites poetry. to the mountain, to the wind, to the arrow that rose from love. A hero is not always the one who returns. Sometimes it's the one whose departure brings a nation back to life.